Look at my notes. I didn't get a chance to read them. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Crossing Bridges, the talk show. I'm your host, Larry Montgomery Sr. This is my co-host, Will. Will, introduce yourself.
Good evening, everyone. I'm William Montgomery, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and this week we want to talk about a topic that most of us are probably familiar with. Some may be too familiar with it, I don't know, or at least have met or run into someone who is experiencing or being in is actually in an abusive relationship, and that's the topic. Um, I know that no one here has been in an abusive relationship or has been exposed to it, but just in case we might come across a couple of ideas that would help you recognize that if someone else is in an abusive relationship, um, have an understanding of what they're going through and try to be sensitive to maybe helping them out. If anything, giving them some information because it's clearly an uncomfortable situation to have feelings for someone who treats you poorly. You know, and I know we talk about well I love him, I love her, whatever. Love shouldn't hurt. That's the whole point about love. It doesn't hurt. You know, and if someone is hurting you, whether it be physically or verbally or even mentally, you need to kind of reevaluate the relationship or how important it is to you. And sometimes, you have to just step back and say this is not going to work out. I mean, a lot of people get in a relationship and the first thing they do is they want to change the person that they're in a relationship with. You know, just like, well, this is something I've found attractive of you, but I don't want nobody else to partake of it, so you need to stop that. you know, oh, you're a very friendly person, outgoing, and now that you're with me, I really don't want to see you, being friendly and outgoing with other people. You know, that might be an issue that I have and then on the other side of it, well, that's a very attractive trait, and I don't want you to attract anybody who may be better for you than me, 'cause I got issues. A lot of them I didn't tell you about when I met you, but they may creep out as we go along.
Mm.
And so, yeah, you need to be able to recognize that, and especially, as a parent, uh, I could imagine that's kind of uncomfortable for your child to tell you, oh, I love so and so, and we're trying to have a relationship or whatever, and then the next thing you don't see him anymore. They say, well, you don't come around like you used to come around. Oh, well, me and so are hanging out, and that means what? I'm still your parent. You don't want to come by and see me. I may not be doing well, you know. May not be able to get to the phone, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
check on me, like that. and oh well, and come up with all kinds of excuses. And say, personally, I'm the kind of person. If I got to mention it to you, you should catch the clue. I mention it because now I've fed up enough to actually open my mouth and say something about it. You tolerate stuff because you're a parent. You try to be, reasonable and give your children the wings and they can fly and do what they want to do. But you still worry. I mean, you're still concerned. You still want to, you know, show them love and and receive love. So if you don't see them for a while, don't hear from them, you get concerned. You know? And so when we talk about abusive relationships, I have a little video. I think it's about 3-4 minutes long. I want to put that in right out now, and then we'll talk about some of the things. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What is an abusive relationship? What is considered abusive behavior? Abusive behavior can take many forms. It can include being violent or aggressive, making threats, controlling someone's behavior, putting them down, verbally abusing them, taking or keeping money from them, and putting pressure on someone to have sex or do things they don't feel comfortable with. What are the 6 types of abuses? Different types of abuse. Physical. This is the type of abuse that many people think of when they hear the word abuse. Sexual. Verbal/emotional. Mental/psychological. Financial/economic. Cultural/identity. What are some facts on domestic violence? Domestic violence is the leading cause of injury to women, more than car accidents, muggings, and rapes combined. Every 9 seconds in the US, a woman is assaulted or beaten. Every year, 1 in 3 women who is a victim of homicide is murdered by her current or former partner. What percentage of relationships are emotionally abusive? Psychological aggression by an intimate partner was reported by 48.4% of women and 48.8% of men. Red flags and warning signs of an abuser include but are not limited to extreme jealousy, possessiveness, unpredictability, a bad temper, cruelty to animals, verbal abuse, extremely controlling behavior, antiquated beliefs about roles of women and men in relationships. What are the 3 cycles of an abusive relationship? There are 3 stages to the cycle of violence. This is where the battered person may feel like they are walking on eggshells. Second is the actual explosion phase where the physical abuse occurs. It can last from a few minutes to several hours. Third is the honeymoon phase. We've put together signs that indicate that you are in an emotionally abusive relationship, plus other signs of abuse. Signs of physical abuse: hitting, punching, kicking, shoving, choking, or slapping. Using weapons to inflict harm or threaten you. Controlling what you eat or when you sleep. Forcing you to do work against your will. Forcing you to use drugs or alcohol. Stopping you from seeking medical treatment or calling for help. Signs of sexual abuse: forcing you to perform sexual acts without consent. Demanding sex when you're not willing or able. Harming you during sex by choking, holding, or striking you. Forcing you to watch pornography. Insulting you in sexual ways. Signs of psychological abuse: threatening to hurt you or your children, pets, or loved ones. Damaging or stealing your belongings, or threatening to. Blaming you for the abuse, saying that you deserve what happens or that you caused him to react. Withholding affection or acknowledgement in order to punish you or get their way. Cheating on you to deliberately cause you anguish. Lying to you. Signs of reproductive abuse: refusing to use a condom, or deliberately removing it during intercourse without your knowledge. Refusing to let you use birth control of your choice. Sabotaging birth control, such as poking holes in condoms, swapping out birth control pills, not pulling out. Forcing you to become pregnant. Forcing you to have an abortion, or preventing you from getting one, regardless of your wishes. Signs of financial abuse: preventing you from having access to bank accounts with your money. Only permitting you to spend from an allowance. Monitoring how you spend money and deciding what you can or cannot buy. Stealing your money or using your savings or credit cards without your permission. Refusing to contribute to shared expenses such as rent, food, childcare, etc.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, what do you think? We cover everything?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that, kind of seemed a little one-sided towards the end because I think men and women can do those things. But as far as the birth control situation, some people want to get pregnant, they'll poke a hole in the prophylactic, and therefore making it, useless in order to create a situation where that person is attached to them for at least 18 years, financially and emotionally. So, I mean, but in the video they just mentioned men, you know, in that realm, but it does happen on both sides. So, just wanted to make that point.
Yeah, yeah. It's not gender specific.
Hmm.
Excuse me. Which is interesting because how demeaning is it for a man to be abused by a woman?
Sorry.
I mean, really, yeah, think about that. And then your role as protector of the household, you know, and your wife is slapping you around like, Jody the dog, something like
Hmm.
that. And I mean, what kind of example does that set for the children? You know, that daddy, not I'm not talking about having, well, we battling back and forth like two boxers in a boxing ring, but it's kind of like, well, daddy, how you getting beat up by mommy when I go to school and people be bullying me? I mean, what am I supposed to do? Yeah, and which is not a good thing for people to hit on each other. It happens, you know.
Hmm.
Sometimes you bite off more than you can chew. You hit the wrong person, or you pick the wrong person to hit, you know,
Hmm.
and find yourself with a butt whipping that you didn't expect. You
Hmm.
know, not everybody is weak just because they look weak. Don't mean they are weak.
Hmm.
But then again, we were talking about abusive relationships, so I want to focus more on the more common relationship, man and a woman. Um, it's not. I don't know much about gay lifestyles or whatever, but so I'm gonna leave that on the side. But between a man and a woman, man has probably got a little more weight on him than a woman. Definitely got bigger hands, that's for sure. That's just the body configuration. But again, women, they seem weaker, you know, because it's not their role to get out there and fight, kind of like the lions, where the female lion goes out and gets the food. So really, that's how this works. Okay, well, I'm the king of the jungle here, and you go out and get the food, and life is good. So, but that's the animal kingdom. This is supposed to be the kingdom now. I mean, the human kingdom realm, however you want to put it. And you know, beating down your woman is does that make you feel like a big man? Does that make you feel important, like you're in charge? Then you got some issues that require professional help. You know, because that's not first of all, it doesn't make any sense. You're just gonna make somebody do something that they don't want to do. If they really love you, they may entertain some things, but if they really don't want to do it, they don't want to do it. When you make up your mind you don't want to do something, then what? People just gonna beat you into the ground until you do it. Happens in prison, but that's prison. Okay, you ain't getting out till they let you out. You know, but you in your own household, that don't make no sense whatsoever. And the other side of it, not to be, just to keep rambling on, but how are you gonna beat on somebody and then get in the bed, lay down, and go to sleep? I mean, who's stupid in this situation?
Oh.
You wake up dead. Now what? You thought you was all that. You eating their food, they cooking the food for you, whatever. You know, you all that. You just do what I want you to do, whatever. You still sitting at the table eating. Uh, but such is life. Do you want to say something? I got some other points to make.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely. I mean, people do that because they take charge of that person's lifestyle. They think for them. They buy their stuff. They get their trust. Well, they in the beginning they probably get their trust and have them believing that this person's doing the right thing for them and everything. And then also the psychological aspect of it is, you know, this is your fault. I'm beating you because it's your fault. You did this, so this is why I got to do this. I got to punish you. And it's physical, psychological, mental, emotional. You separate people from their family, their friends. So now they can only depend on you. And this is how that behavior starts. When they start talking about red flags, it's like it's somebody saying, okay, well, I don't like your family. We're going to move to the other side of the globe and it's just going to be me and you. I mean, that might be a red flag, like, no, my family's good. They never did anything wrong. They like you, they love you, but all of a sudden now you want to get me away from everybody and all my friends and change my whole lifestyle. And for no other reason than you just don't like my family. That
Well,
might
one of
be.
the just to jump in there for a second. Um, Sometimes the abuser realizes that other people see you as an abuser,
Mm-hmm.
while the one that's in love with you don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I want to get you up out of here before they start talking about it and convince you that I'm, not the one for you. you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, it's also a learned behavior by way of the household that you came up in. I came up in a household. My mother and father would, like I said before, would Friday night when he came home with his check, that's when it started. So by Friday night, he got to leave the house, and he ain't coming back, till maybe Sunday morning. And then there's another argument because where was you all this time? You know, well, I wasn't coming up here so you could beat me in the head with a frying pan. So now what?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I want to go back and forth, and well, I got to get up and go to work on Monday morning. You still want to argue? Women talk a lot. They're emotional, and they want to say what they got to say, and they may say it three, four, five times. You know, the whole conversation, not just one or two words. So you got to figure out how they got to sit here and listen to this, or I just don't do it anymore, and I have to worry about having to hear it. you know?
True. True.
I mean, you got options here. You just got to figure out which ones you got that work. You know, my mother and father would fight time to time. My father I never really seen my father hit my mother. Never really did that. You know, but that was in the house. Now, when she and him went out, I don't know what happened. Because obviously we weren't allowed to go with them. They was going out somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they come home sometime hot.
Mm-hmm.
So that didn't go well. But then it's, you gotta grow up. You know, personally. You know, you can't solve all your problems by yelling, cussing, and carrying on and hitting and throwing stuff. Because that's gonna do what? If the cops don't come and pick you up, you know, you might get snuck when you wasn't looking, got hit in the head, and then you might, oh wow, oh, I'm dizzy here. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, just got that frying pan upside your head. You know, and back in my day, they used to in the projects, you get that hot grits in the face.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or you get hit in the face with some lye.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like an unforgettable effort there. Face all burnt up because of what? You thought you was all that. And that wasn't the solution to the problem. You know, the solution was to sit down and figure it out, and then make a decision that, oh well, this is working, this is not working. Maybe I should do better here. You know, because if you say what you can do, what you want to work on to do better, that's you. That's personal. You made that decision, and that's on you to keep in your head to think about it. You know, If somebody else, your partner, wife, whatever, tells you that you do this too much, do that, whatever, that's I understand that, but that doesn't always stick. That's why they say if you don't buy into it, it ain't gonna happen. You're always gonna be struggling with it. Once you make up your own mind to stop or to change something like that, that's when it starts to happen. You know, I got a few more points I want to just point out. On this thing here. There's some 11 warning signs of emotional abuse. Your partner attacks your self-worth and criticizes you. I mean, that's one of those things that goes two ways because your partner may be trying to help you, achieve what they believe is in you or what they see is in you or what they'd like for you to be in you. You know what I mean? Say, oh, you're a good art, you're a good singer, but you don't want to sing. Oh, come on home and let's go to church and you can sing in the choir, whatever. And you taking offense because you don't want to sing, but you're a good singer. So okay, but if your partner is feeling that, well, you're not only good, but you could be really good, like get paid to do this, you have to consider thinking about it or having a conversation and explain, yes, I'm just not feeling that, and please don't ask me to do it anymore. Get an understanding. You Number two would be your partner controls your appearance. Now, yeah, I can understand that. You got somebody trying to tell you how to match your colors or match the patterns, that you're wearing. You don't want to wear checks and stripes type outfits. You never did that, have you?
What? No.
Yeah, I know. So it's like, tell me how to dress. Well, some people don't really know how to dress, you know.
Mhm.
But then you can't like force them to, you know. You might buy them clothes, to kind of help them understand what you're talking about. If they like it, good. If they don't like it, then don't buy them anymore because they don't like you wasting your money. Number three, your partner shares sensitive information about you. Now, why would you want to go around telling my personal business to somebody else? I don't care who they are. Tell it to my friends, your neighbors, your friends, my relatives, your relatives. I mean, why would you do that? Told it to you in confidence. Some things, people don't have a problem with, talking about them. Oh, so and so really plays, basketball well, you know, but then you know that you really stink at it. So you don't want them to go around telling people that you play, and then they want to ask you to come out on the court and see what you can do. Right? Just get out there and get embarrassed. Uh, Number four, your partner shuts conversations down. Anything you want to talk about, they got an issue with, or they want to quickly change the topic, the subject, so it focuses all on them and not on you in any situation. Number five, your partner gaslights you. Now, gaslighting is a manipulation tactic that abusive partners will often use. Gaslighting refers to when an abuser tries to control a victim by twisting their sense of reality or making them doubt what they experience. Examples of gaslighting include telling a victim that never happened or that's not what I said, which can cause the victim to question their memory and rely more on the reality that their abusers creates. Another common form of gaslighting is being told you're crazy or you're too sensitive to invalidate your feelings and discredit you. Um, Sometimes it starts out like it seems like as a joke. Oh, some phone ring? Uh, like, I didn't hear it. Oh yeah, it's ringing. Your hearing's going bad. Stupid stuff like that. Number six, your partner crosses boundaries. Creating boundaries is a way for couples to maintain strong relations while simultaneously having a sense of self and independence. For example, you and your partner might have a joint account while also maintaining independent accounts. If a man charges a purchase to his partner's account without her permission, he's crossed a boundary. If boundary breaking happens repeatedly, this jealousies this no, I'm sorry, this jeopardizes the victim's sense of safety and independence. Number seven, your partner monitors your activities or conversations. You know, now it's one thing to be, nosy, interested, or lonely, and you just want to, get involved with whatever conversation. I mean, I've talked to your mother. She's on the phone talking to, daughter-in-law, Shemeka or something. Like, what you're talking about? Nosy. But then, there's a point of being nosy, and there's another point of being, controlling. You want to know what they're talking about, then you got an opinion about it. Number eight, your partner isolates you from your family and friends. We talked about that. All of a sudden, you want to jump up and move across town or out of state or something like that, and you don't know nobody there. Number nine, you have to ask your partner for permission to leave the house. I'm grown. What do you mean? I can't go out. I can't go outside because you don't want me to. Man, you lost your mind up in here. You know. First thing I'm gonna do is sneak out and never come back. Now what? You don't have to worry about that again. Number 10, your partner asks you to compromise your morals. And we talked about that. Like most people, you probably have a sense of right and wrong that helps you maintain a sense of ethical selfhood. Yet, in many cases, an emotional abusive partner will compromise this healthy way of living by asking you to do or say things that violate your moral code. One common example is a man pressuring a woman for sex despite the fact that she has already stated she is not ready for this level of physical intimacy, and so on. The last one, your partner demeans you. No, your partner demeans your dreams. Emotionally abusive individuals are typically frightened at the idea of a partner realizing their dreams. This is because the abuser wants the victim to depend on him for a sense of self-worth and fulfillment. For this reason, it is common for abusers to make fun of the victim's dreams. The goal of this behavior is to discourage the victim from acting independently, developing self-confidence, or gaining the resources necessary to leave if the abuse becomes unbearable. An example of demeaning the victim's dream would be learning that the victim wants to go to college and stating that's stupid. You don't need a degree to take care of the kids and clean the house. That's short-sighted thinking there for anybody, because you're in a relationship with someone that you love. Why would you not want them to be all that they want to be? You know, I mean, if you out of your league, then you need to face that fact. You know, but you know, God gave you free will. And you want to use it this particular way, and you want to sing, you want to dance, you want to paint, whatever. Why not? You know? So those are my comments on abusive relationships. Hey, you want to add something, Will?
Well, relationships are very, hard to, there's no one relationship that's going to be the same as the next one. So nobody knows what you're dealing with. Nobody knows what's going on unless you tell somebody. And some stuff, sharing personal, intimate details about your significant other is never really cool. whether you're male or female. It's just like, I mean, I don't talk about anybody I'm involved with because it just, to me, is nobody else's business.
Mm-hmm.
So to cross that boundary, as you was talking about boundaries, it's like, you know, you're you're damaging your own relationship. So if you're in a relationship that you feel is good and that's where you want to be, you shouldn't be sharing information like that, or you should just break up, go somewhere else. Belittling somebody's dreams, yeah, that's a control technique, to, like I said, keep them dependent on you. But like in the notes, or the 11 items, they tend to make it seem like it's just men that do that. There's women that do that too. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
women that are the breadwinners, and it's like, nah, you ain't going nowhere. Here's your allowance, or you might have somebody that ain't a breadwinner. Like you bring that check home to me, and I'll give you a couple of dollars to go, you know, buy a beer or two. What I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? You better be in at 10 o'clock, you know, every
Well,
night.
well, I understand your point, and your point
Mhm.
is well made. But sometimes that's the relationship that works best for the relationship. If
But
you
if
if you a spender and
mhm,
you know that you got bad credit because you're a spender, and you and your wife or girlfriend, whatever, have decided, well, we're gonna do this. We're gonna go on vacation on such and such a day or
mhm,
whatever, and we've already planned it ahead. Got the dates from our job. We're gonna be out, and then we're trying to put this money aside, and you keep running out to the bar or to the club, spending up money. So this is what we're gonna do. You bring your check home. We sit down, and the bills got to be paid, and so on, such and such, and I'll make sure, and this is the wife, woman talking to the guy,
mhm.
that we put the money aside and we have it. Now, there's nothing wrong with that relationship if that's what you agree to.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, but if you
But
don't agree to it, that's a different kind of conversation.
yeah, and that's why I say, relationships are very, unique, and there's different idiosyncrasies that go along in that relationship. If you had that conversation, that makes sense. But if you hadn't, and it's just like, nah, you bring that thing home, and I'll tell you what to spend it on. I'm gonna go buy your clothes. I'm gonna do this, that, and the other. And it's like I said, it's a control technique, and men use it, women use it. Like I said, it's all these things, all those topics that were mentioned can go either way. You
Yep.
know,
Mhm.
and that's the whole point. Because if you say, oh well, only men do that and women don't do it, then a man's gonna sit there and be like, well, all that stuff that you just said that happens to women, that's happening to me. And it's like, how do I get out of this? Because nobody believes that I'm dealing with what I'm dealing with.
Mhm.
If a young man goes to his dad and say, hey, well, my woman, takes all my money and spends it on this, that, and the other, and gives me $20 to make it through the week, you know, if I'm like, well, just don't give me your money. What I'm saying? Like, that's simple, right? But it's not, because that relationship has certain dynamics in it. It could be they had a conversation and they agreed on that, or it could be, she just
Yeah,
running
but
him.
you also have got a relationship where you don't agree,
Mhm.
but what the one is saying what makes sense, and you just stuck on stupid
Yeah, but
because you said, well, I do what I want to do because I got rights. Yeah, you got rights. You got a right to be alone.
yeah, but like I said, that's still, I mean, but you can't discount that because that is
Right.
still their right to say, you know what, I made this money, I go blow it on the racetrack. It don't make it right now, but
Right.
that's that person's right.
Right.
If you come up with an agreement and you say, okay, you're my other half, all this money is ours, then that's understood. But if it's not that, and you just like, I'm not happy with this situation, that's emotional. That's mental torment that you're
Hmm.
dealing with every day. And then that's gonna turn into a physical event eventually if you feel like you're being slighted or shorted, you
Hmm.
know, and now you got this grown person angry at the person that they're supposed to love in close quarters, and that just makes a hostile environment. So why
Hmm.
do that? You have to say, okay, well, look, I'm not happy with this situation. I need to talk to her or him and say, look, this is not working for me. If that becomes a problem, hey, I need to go my separate ways.
Yeah, but you know, you got to, you know, a lot of these things you want to try to ferret out before you get into a serious relationship with somebody. You know, even if you the kind of person that says, look, well, you know, I fell in love with him at first sight. You know, well, that may have been lust and not love. You know, because love is something that you know fluid. This, you know, this has happened. This is deep. You know, lust is like right on the surface there. It's just one wave come this way, one wave go the other way. I don't want to see you no more type of thing. But again, being able to sit down and talk about issues. This is what you need to do before you commit to somebody. You know, even when we're talking about your dreams. You know, you have dreams, they have dreams, or whatever, and you want to find out what those dreams are. You know, so oh, you know, everything's good, everything's good. No, you don't have any dreams. You don't have any desires. Oh no, whatever you say is good. That's a problem because that one is waiting to find out what you're going to do, and if you accomplish it, then they're going to launch their plan. You know, because if you out here, we're in a relationship, and I die, and we have children, what's supposed to happen with them? We, you know, we just keep drift. They just drift along with you until something comes along. No, you. We're creating an environment that embodies them too, and they need to be able to feel comfortable that yeah, this is going somewhere, even if it's just right here. You know, we want to be here, so we want to make sure we pay the rent, keep the lights on, keep food in the house, whatever, and you know, we'll figure it out later on. But you got to have these conversations. And one thing is easy is when you sit down with someone that you like or enjoy or want to be spend time with. You know, you look around. What's going on here? You know, you have to think what is going on here because this is where this person is coming from. This is the baggage that they're bringing with them. Where they are right now. Well, right now, I don't have a job, and nobody else in the household has a job. We on welfare, or we hustlers, or we gypsies. Well, you look nice, but I don't think I want to be a gypsy. You know, I'd like to know the light's going to be on next week. You know, yeah, TV's still going to be here. You know, whatever. But and that's critical. You know, you have to be honest with yourself. You know, if I see your situation as whatever it is, then I need to understand how you got there and where you were hoping to go. Because if I'm not here, okay, you know, we're in a relationship. You know, no, we start in a relationship. And, you know, I'm like, okay, I want to be, I'm working at the warehouse. Okay, fine. But I want to be a manager. You know, I want to, you know, move up. And then something happens and they, you lose your job. You know, you're in an accident or something like that there. You lose a limb or something like that. Now, we're in a relationship. You know, you're going to kick me to the curb because I can't perform like I used to. Some people do that. They say, you dead weight. I can't carry you. But we in love. You know, I love you. That got nothing to do with it. You know, you're not bringing in the check. So, adios. You need to find that out before you get in a relationship with them, if that's the kind of person that they are. And one way to know that for sure is that they have a goal that they're trying to get somewhere. And so now it's also on me to like, you know, I got to be prepared to support that, you know, to help you out, to help you make it happen. You know, but if I got a problem with it, you know, hey, I want to be a professional gambler. You know what happens when you're a professional gambler? You have good days and you have bad days. Most of the time, you have a lot more bad days than you have good days. But if you're good at it, you kind of keep a yeah. I may have lost 10 games, but I won one, and that one covered all 10, type of a thing. But you got to ferret that out before you get too deep. You know, um, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, but in this world, not everybody's honest. So you
and
ask the question, but you also got to watch and observe the
yeah,
behavior.
yeah,
You know, nowadays I call it the microwave, mentality. Everybody wants everything right now because they can have it right now. But then
mm,
2 minutes after you done heated it up, it's cold again.
mm,
You wonder why it's cold because you microwaved it. You know what I'm saying? You
mm,
didn't cook it in the oven for 30 minutes. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? You didn't get all the bacteria out of there. You didn't kill everything. You
mm,
ain't make the juices, get all that flavor. You did it real quick and it didn't last.
mm,
So we need to get back to, and people might laugh, I don't care. The way
mm,
they did it back in the days, people walking down the street holding hands, sharing a milkshake or whatever, sitting across in the little malt shop or whatever, talking, having conversations or whatever, going to the library, reading books, you know, getting to know each other is what
mm,
we don't do anymore. It's like,
mm,
oh, you look good. Hey, let's go, let's get together. And I'm
mhm,
not knocking it. But if that's not getting you where you want to be, you know what I'm saying? You might want to rethink what you're doing
yeah,
because the tried and true method is, I always hear people and sometimes a lot of women will be like, I want a relationship like my parents or my grandparents. Well, what did they do to get that? You know
mm,
what I'm saying? It they wasn't living a microwave life back then. It shoot. Matter of fact, they started growing their own food, cutting it up, doing all this, the whole process, the whole 9 yards. We
mm,
want everything to be quick and handed to us.
mm, yeah,
So if
yeah,
you wanted that, you got to do that. You got to duplicate the recipe.
yeah, yeah. People. I mean, I understand. Things are a lot, you know, different now than they were when I was coming up. But one thing I do remember, um, the phrase, "It takes a village to raise a child."
Hmm.
You know, and that means that there's more than just you and your household that are involved in raising the child. And but you can't be a part of the village if you're not a part of the village. You
Hmm.
know, if you don't have the same thought processes, the same goals, the same attitudes, about things. You think you're helping, but you're hurting somebody. Say, oh, you know, uh, Johnny, he's struggling at school, and the parents are trying to work with him or whatever, and here you come along, Johnny come nobody. Oh man, you can come hang out with me and make this hustle. That, well, that's what you do. That's not the track or the dream that I have for me or my parents have for me. Hopefully, you know, they want me to be successful. Successful is a relative term. Sometimes success is just surviving. You know, not getting in trouble with the police. Not hanging out with the wrong crowd and either getting a beat down because you're with them or getting a beat down because you're not doing what you're supposed to do when you're with them. You know, or you're getting a beat down because you is with them. Uh, but your point about the microwave thing, yeah, you know, listen, every day is still 24 hours, you know.
Hmm.
So, you can have it all today, and tomorrow, what you got? Just what you had yesterday. You ain't got nothing else going on, because you ain't trying to do nothing. You ain't trying to get nothing. If somebody give it to you, you don't appreciate it, and you won't appreciate it, you know.
Hmm.
And first thing that you do and give somebody else, and you see how they disrespect it, and you be like, now you got attitude.
Hmm.
That was your attitude in the first place. I ain't giving you nothing if you ain't working for it. You know, and that don't mean you got a slave.
Hmm.
Do something. You know, more than just unwrap the box. But anyway, um, we coming up on the end of the hour,
Hmm.
45 minutes, and what we gonna talk about next week?
That's a good question. Any suggestions out there in video land?
not yet.
Okay.
But we'll probably have another guest. I'm talking to some brother that may bring some things to the table that of interest. He's already pretty much committed. It's just a matter of finalizing it, type thing.
Okay.
But you know, we'll see. You know, otherwise, just keep doing what we're trying to do. Hopefully, it'll help somebody as we go along. Uh,
Mhm.
so, son, I'll talk to you again next week. Well, here's
Admin
here.
note. Yeah. For our viewers, if you would like to be a part of the panel, please let us know in the comments, or if there's a topic that you would like us to discuss, or like I said, once again, be a part of the panel, please let us know in the comment section.
Okay, and we'll see you all next week, God willing, and the creek don't rise.
And the creek don't rise.
Amen, and God bless.